My man.
Okay, but
Ready?
should be public now.
All right, guys. Hey, what's up, everybody? Alec Torelli here. I'm excited to do another live episode of Ask Alec Q&A. I did one of these a couple weeks ago in Macau called like live from Macau. It's also on my YouTube where I just gave you guys an update of what was going on in my life and poker and everything that was planned for 2019. I'm excited to continue that journey. One of my goals this year was to do more regular episodes of these where I actually get to interact with you, get to know you better, and answer your questions. So, in this Ask Alec episode, we're actually going to take calls from readers like yourself where you could ask me anything on how to improve and crush poker in 2019 or anything. We could take it to a wide range of conversation topics. Last time we got into a bunch of different things, which was really exciting and fun. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity to get to know you guys. I'm going to update you with some things going on with me and what's you can expect to see on the channel so you know kind of what's coming up going forward. The best way to stay tuned with all of our content, of course, is to subscribe to this channel because there's awesome content coming your way. I got a lot of stuff in the works for 2019 and ways to make the content better for you guys. First up, we have the content from Macau. For those of you that don't know or are just tuning in, I was in Macau and Hong Kong coaching and playing some high stakes poker the entire beginning of the year for the first 2 weeks of 2019. And I filmed a bunch of different content out there. There are vlogs where it showcases my daily life as a high stakes poker player and coach and what goes into preparation for and playing in the big game in Macau, as well as hands that I'm sharing. I have a new vlog coming out tomorrow, so be sure to subscribe. There's an awesome hand of the day in there as well as my daily pregame routine. There are also hand of the day episodes exclusively from Macau, from the biggest, most interesting hands I've played. And there are Ask Alec episodes from Macau where I take questions, actually pulled fans of mine out from the Win Macau and dragged them onto the boardwalk. And we did a live conversation, a Q&A episode, and we recorded it. And I'm going to be featuring that content on my YouTube as well. So there's a lot of content coming from Macau that I'm excited for. I think is unique and it's a little bit next level. And we're really trying hard here. I'm trying really hard here as well with my team is working super hard to produce better quality and more practical content for you guys in 2019. That's definitely one of our big goals. And so I appreciate your patience and feedback while we do that. And yeah, I'm excited for what's to come. So be sure to subscribe. The second thing I would say is an update for you guys that could help with your poker journey is to follow me on Instagram. You can see my Instagram here on the top of this little thumbnail. I'm posting daily updates on my stories about my life playing poker. I'm playing online poker now. I can't tell you where because I found a gold mine of an app where I'm playing on a Chinese site. But I'm playing a lot of poker, and so I'm walking you through my journey of playing poker on Instagram stories. Everything from what I eat to how I get ready mentally, to my pregame routine, to my workout routine, to in-game playing, to hand of the days, to dealing with losses and getting your confidence back, and all these sorts of things that you struggle with or think about when you're playing poker. And then on my Instagram post, I'm also sharing content as well, and there's chances to win merchandise like these beautiful Technica hoodies from Conscious Poker, as well as our pro membership. So the best comments and answers and feedback get free stuff from us as well. So that's a great chance for you guys to interact with us and with me personally and get to know me better. And of course, help on your poker journey. The last exciting update, and this is something we just rolled out where in beta, we're rolling it out literally today. It's the first time I'm ever making this announcement, is our membership program at Conscious Poker. You can see there at the top, that link is now free to join. I got so many requests for people that wanted to have a trial of our membership program at Conscious Poker that I was like, okay, let's do it. It was $99 a month to join. $99 to join and $49 a month. Now it's free to join for 2 weeks. You have a free trial. And I did this because I'm really confident two reasons. One is I want to give access to people to try the content and get access to the content. And if they use it for free and cancel, great. At least they had access to the content and they can improve their game. And number two is I really am betting on the value of our content that you're going to stick around, because I think our membership program is that great. And there's a lot of great benefits for people that want to improve their game and take their game to that next level. We have weekly strategy videos coming out where there's a new, if you like my hand of the day episodes, this is that on steroids, where I'm going through things that I don't have time or I don't share in my hand of the days, more exclusive advanced strategy content where I walk you through how I study poker, the programs I use, exactly how I think through each and every hand, hands that I've played on television. I review your hands as well. I give priority access to my members, of course. And then we have a private members area on Slack that is incredible. We have a conscious poker coach and myself and the community moderating that on a daily basis. It's truly awesome stuff. We have a monthly group coaching call where you could hop on and ask questions about any topic poker related, and you can guarantee to get your questions answered. If not on the pro membership call, then in the private members area. And yeah, so it's really awesome stuff. I'm excited for you guys to check it out. So you can subscribe for free at that link above. I wanted to make sure you guys get first dibs on that access, and I'm excited about that. So I think that's it for some housekeeping with me. Let's see here. I wanted to take some calls here because I want to get to know you guys a little bit better. So let me find let me find the chat. I have to do some troubleshooting for 1 second because I realized I'm using this new streaming device and it's badass and it allows you to have this beautiful little thumbnail, but then now I don't have access to the chat box. So hang on a second. Here we go. So there I am. So, hey guys, cool. Thank you, Julio, who said he improved watching our channel. So I appreciate that. And now I'm kind of reviewing the chat. So I'm here with you guys too. Cool. So yeah, I want to take some calls. So if someone wants to call in and ask me a question, you can go ahead and call in at that number. That's mainly the purpose of this show. Is it takes a little while because some people are hesitant to join because it's a little what's the word, scary, I guess, to like put yourself out there on air. But once we get calls in, it's awesome, and that's a really fun part of the show. And so yeah, I want to take calls. So if someone wants to call in, go ahead. I'm gonna have a better way to do this in the future where I'm actually screening calls and we can have appointments and all those sorts of things. I plan on doing that in the future, but for now it's a little bit rogue where it's kind of like first come first serve. So here, let me drop in the number here. You should see it on the top of the screen on the thumbnail. 702. There you go. So that's the number to call in, and you guys could ring anytime. And just don't call when someone else is calling. So when I'm on the phone, don't call. But other than that, thank you guys so much for the nice comments. Oh my God, it shows an error. Kill me now. Hang on, guys. Sorry. Forgive us while we do some troubleshooting with our first one of our 702-907-2988. 702-907-2988. No, the number's right. The number's right. So, yeah, there we go. We got a call. Let's do this. I'm pumped. What's up, man? What's your name? Where are you from? You're on the Ask Alec show.
Hello?
Now is when you talk, my man. Maybe it's my fault. Hold on. Hello? Shoot. Shoot, we were so close. So. No, I think everything's right with my settings. Man, I'm gonna have to let you go. All right, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. When am I coming to Greece? I was just in Greece, man. I was in Santorini in the fall. Beautiful place. I love it. Oh, man, I'm so sorry. Whoever called in. I feel bad. Next time. So, yeah, I really wanted to help you guys on your poker journey in 2019 and basically get to know you guys better. And I think this is a great way to do that. This was one of my bucket list items, like one of my goals was to have a regular show. So I'm grateful for you guys to be here and help me out with that. What's up, man? Welcome to the Ask Alec show. What's your name? Where are you from?
How you doing? This is Ray, calling from Virginia.
Awesome, Ray. What's up, man? What's your question?
Okay, so my question is, what advice can you give rec players on tells? What are your most commonly observed tells that you see from players that you don't normally play with?
That's a great question, and I get asked this a lot. And I wish there was like an answer that. Like, I'm skeptical about giving answers to something like this just because I don't want to say something that is generic and that like doesn't necessarily apply to every situation. It's kind of like saying, what's the best way to play post flop? And it's like, it's sort of situational, right? And I feel like it's the same sort of thing with tells. There are some like sort of quintessential ones, like, or maybe that's not the right word. There are some sort of like, standard ones where like people have their hands shaking, for example, when they're making a bet is usually a sign of strength. But again, I take everything with a grain of salt and, look at everything with a caveat because it's not like, better players might give you reverse tells or some players just, these things don't necessarily apply. So there's not really like a get rich quick scheme with these sorts of things. Another one that I think works pretty well is when people act very quickly in spots where they should be thinking. It's generally a sign of weakness because usually people, when they have strong hands, they think about whether or not they can value bet because they usually think like, is my hand good enough to bet here? What hands am I going to get called by that are worse? Should I check and trap? Usually when people jam all in, like immediately, it's, the nuts or nothing. It's a very polar bet. Like if they have the nuts, they'll jam all in maybe because they'll be like, well, like they know what their play is. They don't have to think about what hands they're going to get called by. They don't have to think about, if it's a profitable play. And a lot of times it's nothing because they don't even think about it. So those two are common ones that I see happening and that are pretty reliable, but I've, used those tells to make decisions and been wrong because that's just the nature of, human nature.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely understand the situational. Hey, well, I appreciate that. I appreciate the knowledge, and I appreciate your channel and all the information you provide.
Awesome, Ray. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it, man. Stay tuned. More good content coming. Cheers, brother. Awesome. That's a great question. And, there's a good book that I haven't read, but in our membership program, a couple people were talking about it because one of my clients I was working with last week actually asked me, Alec, what are the, best books on tells? And I was like, look, to be honest, I haven't read all the books on tells, but the one that was commonly recommended was Zachary Elwood. So maybe that's something that's good. Again, I can't vouch for it, but people in our membership program said it was good. So I trust them because they know what's up. So if you guys want to call in, go ahead here at this number. I'm going to try and answer some questions in chat for people that are phone shy. So do you think it's ironic that you coach people to win at poker? But hold on, I'll come back to you, buddy. I'm not dodging your question, Louise. I'm not dodging you. What's up? Welcome to the Ask Alec show. What's your name and where are you from?
Hey, it's Evan. I'm from Los Angeles.
Awesome. Nice meeting you, Evan. I had a 949 area code growing up as well. I grew up in Orange County. So what's up, Evan? What can I help with?
Hey, we talked, I think a few weeks ago. I was the guy who called in about going to home parties and cashing in and then just leaving. And you gave me some good advice about...
I remembered you, Evan. Yes. What's up, Evan?
Hey, so I took your advice and I stayed until the very end last night, and got down to me and another guy. And what I noticed, I'm pretty good when it's more than one player, but when it's one-on-one and someone is just, I don't know what the word is, but like when they are aggressively betting from the very beginning before you even see a flop, and I don't have a hand, I usually fold 3. But what are some recommendations for you when it's one-on-one with someone who you don't think may have anything, but you don't have anything, and they're aggressively betting because, they are the low stack?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you're talking specifically about heads-up poker, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, so in heads-up, this might just be one of those things where, like, you're really experienced in full-ring poker and not as experienced in heads-up, and so, like, the nuances of the game are just different. And one of the things to get used to in heads-up poker is just playing without having a hand. And that requires a little bit more finesse and creativity, because a lot of times you're not going to have something great. So, like, even on the button, you might have Jack-5 offsuit, but you still should be raising with, 85, 95% of your hands, because, winning the blinds is important, or just, having the lead in the hand and being able to c-bet post-flop to victory is important. So finding creative ways to win pots without hands is very important in heads-up poker. And if you're against a really aggressive opponent, there are some adjustments you can make. You can call down lighter because he's probably going to have air more. He's going to be barreling more. I mean, if you're calling preflop with 9-8 offsuit and in the flop comes ace, king, queen, you're going to lose the pot. There's not like some magic thing that you're going to do necessarily, but you have to be defending quite a lot from the big blind. You have to be raising almost every button, and you have to be calling down when you flop a decent amount of equity or any equity, because you need to defend that and fight for that equity when you're heads up. One thing you can do against players that are, raising way too often and c-betting way too often is you can experiment with adjusting to how they play. For example, you can call out of the big blind and then try check raising some flops. And you don't have to use a big sizing, because your goal is to get them to fold their air. So if they have something like, like if they, you're playing 1-2 no limit, they make it $5, you call, the flop comes whatever, you check, they bet $5, which is half the pot. You don't have to make it $30. You can make it 15, and you're risking, 15 to win 15. Your bet doesn't have to work that often. Plus, if you have some equity to back it up, you can either hit your hand on the turn or bluff the turn or get paid on the turn if you make your hand. Your risk reward is pretty good, and you can try and combat aggression with aggression. But one thing you want to try and do in heads-up poker is you really want to try and play a solid approach in the beginning and then deviate from game theory to figure out what exploits you can make to outplay your opponent. You want to figure out what are the mistakes that your opponent is making, where is the weak spot in their game, and then you want to put them in that situation as many times as possible. So if they are very bad at playing, like if they, bluff way too often on the turn, then you may want to 3-bet less often, flat call pre-flop, check call a lot of flops with stronger hands, and then let them barrel away. So you want to find where that they are making mistakes and get yourself in that spot as often as possible. And fortunately with heads-up poker, that's one thing you can do relatively easily. I mean, if you're finding that your opponent plays bad on, the turn when he's out of position, you can, raise pre-flop and bet the flop, and you could put yourself in that spot. So you really have to know your opponent and understand what level they're thinking on, and then find ways to outplay them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you, Alec.
You got it, man. Good luck to you, buddy.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, my man. He called in a couple weeks ago, so it's good to talk to repeat readers and fans. That's awesome. So let me answer some questions here in the comments. So you guys could always call in and interrupt me, but I'm going to give priority to callers, so call in at any time. But Louise asks an interesting question. He says, do you think it's ironic that you coach people to win at poker, but you won't disclose a soft poker site to help people? So let me give people some context. In 2019, I started playing online poker on this app, and the games are good, and I told the person that put me in touch with them that I wouldn't disclose publicly where I was playing because I didn't want, like, he found a great app to play on, and I put me in touch with the people with the app so I could play on there as well. And I told them I promised I wouldn't disclose where I was playing. So I think in poker, I think it's smart to, like, if you find something that's working really well, you don't give people your sources. I think that's just like a smart thing to do in general. And I think most people do that in life as well. Like if you have a source where you're getting leads from, where you're generating leads for whatever it is you're doing and selling and buying, you don't tell people where you get that from. And I think in poker, it's kind of the same. I think it's a smart thing to do. So I don't feel that it's that ironic. Coaching people to win at poker is totally different. It's like helping people improve their game, but you don't have to necessarily tell them where you're playing. And also I promised I wouldn't, so I'm going to keep my word. But even if I didn't, I probably wouldn't do it anyway, just because that wouldn't be smart. So, do you feel that your life is more in abundance with less material possessions? That's a good question. So I don't feel that it's more abundance with less material, but I don't feel that it's more abundance with more material. I feel material's independent of the abundance in my life. That's a good question. But I feel like it's not important at all. And I think spending your money on experiences, not things, is the way to live an abundant life. So if you could spend money on creating experiences over buying useless stuff you don't need to impress people that you don't know, I think you're going to be a lot happier in general, as a rule. And I feel that that's true for me. And I try and spend, all the money I spend, I try and spend on those sorts of things. Not all the money, of course, but most of the money I spend and most of the time and resources I dedicate are towards those things. So yeah, that's where it's at, my man. Good question though. What steps do you need to take to really make a poker career? I wrote an article on this. The one thing takes Torelli that I'm going to drop in here that I think is good. That I think is worth reading. But it takes a lot of things. It's not like it takes one thing to be a pro poker player. It really takes, more than anything, just hard work and perseverance. And I think that, I can't find the article, guys, sorry. I think that it mainly just takes the same thing it takes in other disciplines of life. Like if you want to be successful at anything you do, the same elements and characteristics and habits are required whether you want to reach the top of poker or tennis or law or acting. And I think those lessons transcend the poker industry. And I think for me, what I've learned is that you need a lot of patience, you need a ton of work ethic, and you need a ton of passion, because it's the passion that's going to fuel you getting up early or working late or working when other people aren't, or putting in the time and effort and energy to succeed that other people aren't doing. That's going to propel you. So I think the key is to find the thing that you're so excited about that the action doesn't feel like work because you're so compelled to do it. And there's a really simple test I use, and I think I wrote about this on alectorelli.com, is it's very simple. Like, if you're not inspired to wake up early in the morning or in the morning in general to work on whatever it is you're working on, then I believe you haven't found that right thing. And I think that if you really want to reach the top of something or succeed a lot at something, or have like, if you have big ambitions for something, like some people have modest ambitions, which is totally respectable and fine. But other people have very big ambitions, like they want a multi-million-dollar company, or they want to reach the top of poker. And if you have that level of ambition and you don't have that fuel and fire of passion that's going to push you to reach that thing, then you're never going to make it, because the going's going to get tough and other people are going to have it, and other people are going to work harder and persevere. So I think those are like the really key elements that you need that are really successful, that are really going to make you successful in everything. So shout out to Mike Wiseman. He's our coach at Conscious Poker. You can see he left a comment here. So that's awesome. Thanks, Mike. It's great to have you here. He's moderates the membership program. So when you're in there, he's a great pro. He's been crushing the games for years, provides awesome commentary and feedback, answers all your questions. So when you join our membership program and you have questions, you could reach out to him as well as me, and we both answer your questions and review your hands as well. So that's some awesome stuff. One of the benefits of our program, and taking calls. So feel free to call in, guys. I would love to chat with a few of you. I got at least another half hour. So any tips on bankroll management? Such a big subject. Save more money. I'm putting out some content about that soon that I'm excited about, where I'm really sharing some thoughts and laying down the hammer on how people can grow their bankroll in a way that's practical. And I'm excited about some of the content coming out around bankroll management for us, because I think it's going to be impactful. But I think the variance in poker is bigger than most people think. So you should play smaller than you probably think you should. And you could run bad or play bad for longer than you probably think you can. So I would be more cautious than you think, and always be taking money off the table to apply to other things in your life. Let's do it. What's up, man? What's your name? Where are you from? Welcome to the Ask Alec show.
This is Mike. I'm calling from Hanover, Pennsylvania.
Awesome, Mike. Welcome to the show. What's up? What can I do for you?
My thing is tournament play, live tournament play. I usually play tournaments below $2,500 buy-ins. So $2,500 is like my max.
Right.
I seem to do really, really well in the early stages. Like if starting stack is a 15K or a 30K, I seem to always build my stack at least 4x by level 6. My problem after that is, man, I don't keep my chips.
I get this question a lot.
Yeah, I lose a lot. I build early action, and all the levels I crush. But it's after level 6 is when I start really, I guess that's where the holes in my game are.
Yeah, and so there's a lot at play here, right? It's a lot to get into in a short conversation about tournament play, right? Tournament play is a subject that it requires its own course and book and everything else. But some of that might be variance. I know that doesn't help you, or that's not the answer you want to hear. But some of that might just be, randomness and variance. That's possible. But the other thing is that the playing style that's required to win in the middle stages of the tournament is different than the playing style that's required to win in the early or the late stages of the tournament. And that's namely because, the antes come in, the stack to pot ratio is smaller, and hand values change. So like excuse me, sorry about that. Hey guys, try not to call in when I'm on the phone. Sorry that I don't have a screening system yet. This is a little rogue. But hand values change in the middle stages of a tournament because people have shorter stacks. So if you have a 40 big blind stack and you flop top pair, well, that suddenly becomes a monster hand. And so you need to play that hand in a different way, or you need to categorize that hand in a different way than you would when you're 250 big blinds deep in the early stages. So the action you are going to take with that hand is different. The way you're going to play that hand is different. And so that's just one sort of micro example to explain how the dynamic of tournament play changes when the stack sizes change and the stack to pot ratio changes. And one other example that I can give you too is, sorry, camera's fading away. One other example I can give you too is like 3-betting strategy. So for example, when you're 250 big blinds deep, your 3-betting range for value is going to be pretty narrow because you're so deep. But when you're 40 big blinds deep, you might be 3-betting as a bluff more to apply leverage on a shorter stack, or you might be 3-betting for value with a wider range because you can afford to do that because of the stack to pot ratio, or because you're a big stack and you cover a shorter stack. So I would suggest looking at the average stack size when you're starting to have trouble and experiment with learning strategy about that stack size, because that's ultimately what's going to help you improve at tournament poker. And there's a different strategy for each level and stack size. We have a great free blog on Conscious Poker that I'm going to drop into the chat about the definitive guide to tournament strategy. And I talk about how to play every stage of the tournament. And I think that will really help you. So I would recommend checking that out. It's totally free. And that could be...
If you put the link in there, I'll be sure to 100% check that out.
Yeah, so tournament strategy blog. It's totally free. I just dropped it in the chat. And yeah, I would go from there without getting too much into a subject that, of course, it's hard to cover in a couple-minute phone call. But I hope that helps. And
I appreciate your time, Alex.
thank you, man. Good luck to you.
Bye.
All right, I had another caller from a 902 number. You can call in now, my man. Go ahead. Sorry that I couldn't get to you before. I'll try and answer a few more questions in chat too. What's up, Marvin, Johnny, Edwin? Hey guys, thanks for being here. How do you feel about playing against people who are on heaters? From Johnny. Well, I don't actually believe that really matters. Like, I actually don't believe in luck in that way. So for example, if I flip a coin and it's heads 4 times in a row and the guy calls heads every time, you can say he's on a heater. But if I flip the coin the 5th time, my odds of it being him being right are still 50-50. So I don't adjust any differently, just like I won at the table. Hope that helps. What's up, man? What's your name? Where are you from? And welcome to the Ask Alex show.
How you doing, Alec? It's Josh from your pro membership.
Oh, hey, what's up, Josh? How's it going, my man?
Good, how are you?
Great, man. And we spoke the other day. Josh is a member here at Conscious Poker from Nova Scotia, right?
You got it.
Yes. So what's up, Josh?
You remember I asked you about quick mathematics at the table and calculating that just in quick time?
Yes.
So I was in a situation last night where I'm playing against a player who's, you can almost exploit. Like, he has his hand face up in a sense. If he flops top pair, he was always over-betting the pot. Let's say it's a 5-way limped pot. So we got $10 in the middle playing 1-2. He would constantly bet, say, 25 or 30. And you would always know that, like, he has top pair or he has an overpair. So my question was, if you flop a hand, say, King 9 of spades on a jack high board, so you have an overpair and a flush draw, how can you know how often you can profitably call there when he's overbetting constantly?
Okay, so this is a good question. Let me try and answer that here. Let me show you how to do this. This is a little bit advanced, so we might lose a few people, but so can you guys see? Hold on, let me just open the display capture here. Hold on, I'm gonna open a display capture. And display capture, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing. Bear with me, guys. I'm actually pretty bad at this sort of tech stuff, so I might not be able to do this, but I actually want to show you how I would solve this sort of situation. This is more of a question, Josh, for like a pro membership call where I can get more into like the technical strategy of like how to do this sort of thing. And for those of you watching, this is sort of some of the content that we would cover specifically in one of our like group coaching calls for our membership program. I can't, mother of pearl, I can't open this frame that I want to open, which is highly tilting. Sorry, I can't do it. I'm trying to share my screen, but I can't share my screen. Sorry, I'm going to try one last time and then I'm going to give up because I know we got a lot of people watching and I appreciate everybody's patience and I promise we'll get to other questions. Oh, window capture. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to do it. Poker Cruncher. Okay, so here. Can everybody see this? Okay. We're going to get there. Hang on. We're going to get there.
It's frustrating because you're never going to be priced in. Like, never.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Hang on. So what to do is basically this. You're going to, there I am.
I could give you a board and like a plot to work with.
Okay, let's do that. So this is a program for everybody watching called Poker Cruncher. This is something that I do in my group coaching calls for our membership program. So if you want more of this, you can join our membership. It's totally free. You can click that link 4sp.at/pro-YT, and you can join our membership for free. And we do these types of things in our private community and our monthly group coaching calls, and as well as all the strategy videos that I release on that channel. I actually go in depth into this sort of stuff that I can't really do on my YouTube because it's a little bit, you lose some people. So if you're looking for that next level, check it out. But let's walk through it, Josh. Why don't you tell me your hand? King 9 of spades?
Yeah, King 9 of spades.
Okay. What's the board?
Jack 7-4 2 spades.
Jack.
Doesn't really matter.
No, Jack 7-4 2 spades. And you want to know like.
Say it again. Jack 7-4.
Yeah, I understand. So you want to know how often you can like continue. So what I would do is say, okay, your opponent's in the big blind and he bets twice the pot. So he can have something like Jack 7 suited, Jack 4 suited. You just give him a range of hands. 7-4 suited, he can have 7s, 4s, he can have maybe 6-5, he can have flush draws like 9, 8 of spades. I know you have the 9 of spades, so he can have like 10, 8 of spades. He can have ace, 10 of spades, ace, 8 of spades. I don't want to bore people with entering all the hands here because I don't want to like go through everything, but you just enter hands that you think he can have, and then you hit calculate. And what this does is it allows you to calculate your equity. It allows you to calculate your equity versus your opponent's range of hands, right? So you're saying to yourself, okay, I want to know exactly my chance of winning against all the possible hands that he can have, because I don't know whether, he has a flush or a straight or a 2-pair or a set, or does that make sense?
I know that quite often my flush will be good, as he's not going to leave a dry ace of spades in the big blind. That's just like exploitatively.
Right.
I know this player wouldn't leave, just check back an ace in the big blind, 4 or 5 wouldn't.
Right. So you could enter his hands here. You enter your hand here, and you could say, okay, my hand has 50% equity against his range. So that gives you context for what you should be doing. You're like, okay, well, he bet $20, the pot is $10. So I'm calling $20 to win $30. So I'm getting 1.5 to 1, which means I need 40% equity. So you're like, okay, I need 40% equity. I have 50% equity. It's not a great spot for me, but it's profitable. So I'll call and see one more card and then see what happens. And you can use this formula by figuring out your opponent's range, your equity, and your pot odds, and determine the best play. Does that make sense?
For sure.
And this is something that like it's just kind of like an intro to this. Again, I talk a lot more about this in our membership program, and basically go over exactly how to use a poker equity calculator, how to study poker, how to exactly figure out how to play every single hand and situation based on who your opponent is, what their range is, what they're betting with, and why. But this is like the general way to solve this, and you could kind of take this on your own and experiment with it. You basically, you give your opponent a hand range, you figure out your equity versus his range, and then you figure out your pot odds, and if your equity is higher than your pot odds, you can justify calling. If your equity is not higher, you should fold. And that's just a general way to think about it. Cool?
Gotcha.
I'll see you.
That was awesome. That was cool.
I'll see you on our first membership group call where we'll go into this in more detail, and I'm excited to help you out.
I'll be there.
Good luck, my man. Talk soon.
Awesome. See you.
See ya. Josh is awesome. We spoke yesterday as well. He's plugging along in our program, doing great. So 2 questions from Tila and Nicola. How to get better at hand reading. This is one of those things that takes a minute to learn and a lifetime to master. We have a free hand reading system, which is the exact hand reading system that I use every decision I make at the poker table. We made it available for free for everyone. You could download it at consciouspoker.com or at that link I just dropped in, and it'll give you what's called my hand range funnel. On my last hand of the day on YouTube as well, I walk you through this process of how I narrow down my opponent's hand street by street, step by step, based on all the single actions that they took. And I use what's called a hand range funnel. And the reason I use a funnel is because hand ranges follow the shape of a funnel. They can only get narrower, they can never get wider. And with each action your opponent takes, you could eliminate certain hands from their range because based on what they did and why. So they raise preflop, they can't have these hands. They bet the flop, they can't have those hands. They check raise the turn, well, you can eliminate these types of hands. And so when you arrive on the river, you get to this point where you really understand where you're at in the hand because you could figure out based on all the action your opponent took, what types of hands they have. And I walk you through how to do that in my hand reading system, which is totally free to download. And I just dropped that link, or you could just go to consciouspoker.com, enter your name and email, and I will send it over to you as well. So that's a great resource that we have. Of course, there's better content too, like our membership program where I go into even more detail. Like you just saw a little snippet of some of the types of things that I go into that you could see is a little more advanced. But that's a great place to start. So let's see. Alexander, Rob, Seb, Mark, thanks for being here. Michael, Larry, appreciate it, you guys. Larry, what's the best way to deal with situations where you're card dead and running bad, just not getting anything half decent? I actually posted this on my social media the other day. You just be more patient. And there's really no secret or hack. Like people will tell you all these things. It's all bullshit. Like the real answer is you just fold. It's like in life. Like what do you do when no great business opportunity comes your way? Like you just fold. Like what do you do when you go on 4 dates and all the women you don't like? You fold. Like there's no magic bullet. But that's like the real truth that I want people to understand is that it's like you just have to be patient. So call in, guys. I'm taking calls. I got another, I don't know, at least 15, maybe 30 minutes. We'll see. I will try and do these more often. I will try and do these. My goal is to do these once a week, but it's hard when traveling. It's hard to find a time that works for everyone. I'm in Italy right now. It's 6:45 p.m. in Italy. I know it's 9 a.m. Pacific and noon Eastern, and then it's good time for people in Europe. But like it's hard. Like if I do these in the midday in Italy or the morning, it's going to be like awkward time for you guys. So it's really hard to find a time that works, and there's a lot of logistics. But I love doing this, and I will try and do more of these. So. Thanks, Troy, for the feedback. Bart, thank you for being here. Kevin, What's up? You guys are awesome. Thank you for being here. Brandon has a good question. How can you be sure you're ready to move up in stakes? How much is a factor is game selection? So, two different questions. Game selection is extremely important if you want to win. If your goal is just to play poker, have fun, and improve your game selection is not important. If your goal is to make money, game selection is probably like arguably the most important thing, because your win rate is the difference in skill between you and your opponents. And if you are the 10th best player in the world and you play with the 9 other best players, you're going to lose. If you're the 10th worst player in the world and you play with the 9 worst players, you're going to win. So game selection is imperative if your goal is to profit playing poker. It's independently important of whether or not you're moving up in stakes. Like if you're moving down in stakes, game selection is just as important. To answer your former question, Brandon, how do you know when you're ready to move up in stakes? You're ready when you have the bankroll. So when you have enough buy-ins to justify taking a shot at higher stakes, then you're ready. So like, let's say you have 50 buy-ins for your 1-2 game and you only have, 25 buy-ins for your 2-5 game. Well, what you can do is you can take a shot at 2-5 with 5 buy-ins. And if you lose, you still have 40 buy-ins for, 30 buy-ins for 1-2. So you're still properly rolled for the smaller game if you lose. And that's where you want to be. You want to always be properly rolled for your current game, even if you lose taking shots in that bigger game. Another time to take shots is, of course, when the game is soft, like when you feel like you have a great edge, or when you're feeling really good, you're playing really well, you're on an upswing, and you're really confident in your game because you're going to play better, you're going to win more, you're going to be more likely to succeed. So those are the kind of times that I think taking a shot is the best. I would go about it that way. So let's see a few more questions. Great comment by Mike Wiseman too about that. So guys, call in. I'm taking another caller. Petros, yes, Pio is a good software to use as well. Pio is much more advanced. I would say Pio is after you've used Poker Cruncher. So Poker Cruncher is free. There's a $15 version which I recommend people buy, and then Pio you can use if you're want that super next level, but it's not for everyone. What's the cost of the pro membership? The membership's free to join. It's a 14-day free trial. So this is the first time, I just announced this today, that we made it free. It used to be $99 to join because you get access to a course called 4-Step Foundation, which teaches you my 4-step process that I use for making decisions at the poker table. That comes with worksheets. You get access to our entire database of videos, which has been content I've created for over a year in the membership, and you get access to that right away just for joining. But now we've made that free. So we're really betting on our content. We're betting on the value of our community. We're betting on the value of our membership. And I highly recommend that if you join, you make sure to join our Slack community. There's a video on how to use it. It's not hard to learn. And it is incredible because you get access to myself and Mike Wiseman, who's a Conscious Poker coach. And we give you guys feedback on a daily basis, as well as the entire other community who's giving you feedback of talented, motivated players as well. And that's $49 a month to join, and you get group coaching with us as well, and weekly strategy videos. So I think it's super reasonable for someone that's actually serious about improving their game, because the reality is if you make one good decision, like if you avoid one mistake or you make one great decision, it's going to pay for itself. And that's where we try to price it there. All right, man, what's up? Welcome to the Ask Alec show. What's your name? Where are you from?
Constantine here.
Awesome. Where are you from, my man?
From Toronto, Canada.
Cool. What is your question? What can I help with?
With determining a player's ranges, if you think that there is a possibility that certain types of hands might be in his range, but you also have reason to believe that your opponent might exclude those. So do you say there's a 50-50 chance of, say, them having an ace-king, and just say split the difference down the middle and say there's only half the number of ace-kings normally that you would assign in a range?
That's a great question. An advanced question, but a great question. So how you, just to step back to get everyone on the same page, the way that you figure out hands in your opponent's range is by counting combos. So an example of this that you kind of alluded to was like ace-king. There are 16 combos of ace-king, or pairs, for example, like aces. There are 6 combos of aces that anyone could have pre-flop. So let's say, for example, you're saying, well, he flat called my 3-bet pre-flop. I don't know whether or not he has aces, because you're going to say, well, he could have aces and flat call my 3-bet preflop, but usually some of the time he'll 4-bet preflop with aces, right? That's a situation that's kind of easy to understand. Well, what you can do is basically what you alluded to, which is say, well, we can discount 50% of the aces combos because he just flat called. Why? Because 50% of the time he has aces, he's going to 4-bet. So you say, instead of him having 6 combos of aces, he has 3 combos of aces. And when you enter those hands into Poker Cruncher and an equity calculator or pile solver to figure out the percentage of the time your opponent has that hand, or your equity versus range, you just eliminate 3 of the combos. So
So you just confirmed that my hunch was right.
let me show you how to do that. So when you're in Poker Cruncher here, and you go to aces, let's say your opponent has aces and you want to add aces here, you can see here there's 6 combos on the bottom right. You see how I'm selecting all those combos? You would just unselect 3 of them and you would highlight 3 of them. And so now 3 of the 6 aces combos are selected, which represents your opponent having 3 of those combos.
I was just about to buy Poker Cruncher $15 version in the next few minutes.
You should. If you buy that and you join our membership for free, you'll get access to how to use that.
Your course.
Okay, great. So you know how to use it, and you could just use it on your own now and apply it to every situation you face. And that's really going to help your game. That's like a great step that I would recommend pretty much everyone watching to take for that next step in, going from just recreationally playing poker to actually studying poker and learning to be, act and think and reason like a professional, is to do what you just alluded to, which is download Poker Cruncher, learn how to use it, and go about it that way.
Will do.
Awesome, my man. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. So let's see. I'm taking calls. Oops, I opened the wrong software. So I like using Poker Cruncher. I know it's a little advanced. I might lose some people, but at the same time, we're helping people too. So I think it's a great thing to know. So Marcus, Michael, Ray, M. Monrique, what's up, guys? Thanks for being here. Han, Grumpy, Seb, Ciao, Seb. Cool. Wow, so many good questions. So do you have a morning routine you could share, or a warm-up routine I could share? Okay, so 2 things. So Alec, Torelli, morning routine. So let me do this. So there's 3 things you can do. One is you can follow me on Instagram, where I walk you through like various things about my morning routine, like my day, how to get ready for sessions. The second thing you can check out is this morning routine blog. And the third thing you can do is subscribe to Conscious Poker or YouTube, because I'm putting out daily videos about like vlogs that are coming out about my life in Macau, and you'll get to see exactly what I'm doing before my sessions. So I'll like literally take you where I was at the Mandarin, and I'll show you like this is what I do when I first wake up. This is, the exercise routine I do. This is my meditating routine. So you'll get to see all those things. Highly recommend. Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Ask Alex show. What's your name? Where are you from?
Paul Coleman, Thousand Oaks, California.
Awesome. Great place. What's up, man? What's your question?
The question is,
confidence level in going back into poker. So I had a big bankroll before having twins 6 months ago. Kind of ate into our budget, bought a new home, remodel. Budget went way down. Trying to jump back in the poker game, went back to the stakes and I'm going to play a 5-10 game. Jumped back into that 5-10 game right away, lost a few times, and kind of getting gun shy. Not making moves, looking back and just realizing I'm not playing poker correctly because I actually care about the wins and losses. where before I just made decisions based on knowledge and numbers and, the money didn't really matter. So kind of stuck in that point. Where my decision making is being affected by whether I win or lose that week or not.
Totally. So two things, and I actually alluded to this in a video I put out about Macau, or I'm putting out about Macau, is when I went back to Macau last couple weeks ago, I didn't just jump into the 1K 2K game. I actually played 100 200 first. And the reason I did that is because just like athletes, warm up and practice before the game, I think poker players should do the same thing. And if you've been cold for a long time, I don't think jumping back into the game that you usually play is the best thing to do. I think you should jump into a 1-2 game, a 1-3 game, a 2-5 game, and play 2 or 3 sessions to get used to playing poker, and then go back if you're confident, if you're playing well, when you're ready, and you'll know when that is, to go back to that big game that you're used to playing, or up to those stakes that you're used to playing. And you gotta, when you think about it like an athlete, it makes a lot of sense because that's what they do. They don't just hop into the match after not playing for a month. The second thing...
I played for the Dodgers, so I feel you.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible.
I did, but I don't anymore.
That's incredible, man. Good for you.
Thank you.
So the second thing is to really treat poker like its own currency and to compartmentalize the money you're using. And I think that really helps to focus on the merit of making good decisions and not the money, because your bankroll should be separate from your life roll. And when it is, and when you're properly rolled for the game you're playing, then you start to just think about the money in terms of numbers. So I actually don't think about money when I'm playing. Otherwise I'd go crazy thinking, oh my God, I just check raised a car and I fucking donked it off. Like I just think, what's the best play here? So that the question that I ask myself, my mental talk in real time, is always, what is the best play here? And I ask myself that question before I make every decision, because that primes me to think about what's actually important, which is to focus on making the correct decision and not thinking about the money. Because the minute you start letting the mental voice in your head kind of buzz around and be like, the pot's so big, what if you lose? This is so much money. Like this takes me a long time to make this money, whatever, all those things, you're going to, chicken out, or you're not going to be able to make those effective plays that you need to make to become the player that everybody's, afraid of playing against, right? The difficult player. So those are the sort of two things that I would recommend for that specifically.
Okay. And even if the game's different, so say I go back down to, a 2-5 game instead of the 5-10 game over there.
Yeah.
It's a lot looser. It's a lot... it's just a different game.
Yeah, it totally is. But at least you get used to playing poker. You get used to reading people. You get comfortable with the money. Kind of like with alcohol. Like when you have a glass of wine and you haven't drank for a month, you get buzzed a little bit. You want to get comfortable gambling with money so that you're not uncomfortable betting large amounts of it because your tolerance hasn't been built up. But when you're playing poker every day, you're gambling every day, you're comfortable with the money you're risking, so you're not stressed or concerned about betting large amounts on a bluff, for example, because you're making the right play. But that only comes with that comfort, and that comfort comes with that experience. So, yeah, man, I think that will really help you. Good stuff, my man. Stay in touch.
Following you on the website. Love all your work, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Hit me up on social.
All right.
You got it. See you, Paul. Good stuff. I'm taking a few more callers. Let me copy and paste the number. I think it's on the thing. But, some people maybe not see it, maybe don't see it. All right, let's get a few more questions here in the chat. Thanks everyone for being here. You guys are awesome. Kevin, what's up? Troy. Let's see. John, how can you assess players when you're not in the hand and if you don't see what they had at showdown? That's a good question. One of the things that you kind of like to look at is understanding like how people should be playing certain situations. So for example, if you 3-bet pre-flop, we'll come back to you. We'll come back to you. What's up? Welcome to the Ask Alex show. What's your name? Where are you from?
Hey, Alec. This is Manny. I'm Enrique in the chat. I'm from New York.
Awesome. Okay. Cool, man. What's up? What's your
Hey,
question?
how are you? So I know you say things like you should always stick to the facts, the math. You shouldn't, like, for example, if you flip heads 4 times, it doesn't mean it's going to be tails, right? Is there ever a time that you deviate from that? Like, your hunch is so, like, almost like you have a sixth sense, like a hunch. And is there ever a time where that takes priority? Because there was a session I played the other day, and I've noticed, I don't know if I do this to myself by thinking negatively or what, but sometimes I just get this hunch after a couple of hours, or like my mom calls me and she'll be like, where are you? It's 3 in the morning. And then I wind up losing after that for not coming home or whatever. But so the other day I'm in this 2-5 game. I'm in for 1,200. There's this one guy that's in for like 4 or 5K, and he's just spewing his money. He can afford it. So I'm really just chasing him. Like, I know I cannot play him, right? But I'm not really profiting anything. I think my highest was like 1,600 at one point out of the 12 that I was in for. And I'm trying to book a 500 to 1,000 win. So I'm chasing him. But I was tired already. It was already like 6 a.m. I came in at 12 a.m. and I really wanted to go home, but I really wanted to book a win. Ultimately, it was 3-handed. He's still playing. He stuck like 5K. And, I got to a point where I think he raised their pre-flop $65. I called with pocket 9s. I flopped a set of 9s. We got it all in on the flop. And, the pot was like 3,000. And he rivered a king. And that was that. I lost. I was like, wow. I should have gotten some sleep. I should have gone home when I wanted to go home. But I tried to not listen to my gut and stick to the facts, but it didn't work out.
How would you feel if you won that hand?
If I won that hand, then I would have been like, yeah, it was worth it,
Right. So there's your answer, because it's not like fair to judge the situation based on the result. You have to judge it based on the merit of the decision. So if you won that hand, you would be saying it was so good that I stayed. So that's where like the results-oriented thinking kind of comes in, and that there's that bias there. What I will say though for sure is I don't want to be misunderstood with like what I'm saying about the math thing. Like, I don't think that if someone flops a set 4 times in a row, it makes them more likely to hit a set the 5th time. I just believe that your odds of hitting a set are the same no matter whether you've hit it 4 times or haven't hit it 4 times. Like, it's always the same. That said, I always listen to my intuition. So I'm a very math-oriented person, but I'm always trusting my instinct. If my instinct tells me you shouldn't be in this game for whatever reason, maybe I'm tired, maybe I'm frustrated, maybe I want to book a win, maybe it's late, I have something to do tomorrow. There's a lot of things that your intuition could quantify that your conscious mind can't, right? Like when you meet someone for the first time, it's not the color of their shoes or the hat that they're wearing that tells you that you like them or don't like them. It's just your intuition making a real-time read based on, years of evolution. And that's the way that I make decisions throughout most of my life. I go on my feel about what I should be doing. So if I feel like I should quit a game, I don't necessarily try and justify it with logic. I allow my sort of essence or spirit, being, whatever, to sort of dictate what I should be doing and why. That being said, if I know that the odds of hitting a hand are 50%, I don't say to myself, I feel like it's coming, I'm going to call, because that's not something that you can feel with your intuition. But there are things that your intuition has the power to actually comprehend deeper than your conscious mind does. And for those sorts of things, I always listen to my intuition. For example, like what I should be doing with my life is not something that I can quantify on paper, but it is something that I can intuitively just understand what is deeply meaningful to me. And so those sorts of things I make intuitive decisions on most of the time. But then the other things I make logical decisions on most of the time. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, I got you. You were breaking up a little bit, so I'm probably...
Yeah, I gotta let you go because your audio is cutting in and out. So, sorry, my man, I had to let you go. Your audio is brutal. So I feel like it's gonna be highly tilting to some of the people in the chat. But I hope that helped answer your question. Great question. I actually have a keynote talk I'm doing about this. Let me see if I can find it. There's more on that subject that I have. I'm going to find this keynote that I gave. I'm doing another one, hopefully in the next month, that I'm going to record. There's a video here that I'm going to drop in. What's up, guys? Alex. And sorry, I'm like kind of finding content while I'm talking. Here's one that I did that I think is interesting. Let me see. More on game theory versus intuition. And let me find the other talk. Trying to do so many things. Okay. Hold on. Hey man, what's up? Welcome to the Ask Alex show. What's your name? Where are you from? No. Hello. Nope. He didn't make it. All right, he didn't make it. I have another video that I want to send you guys. Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to answer a few more questions here too. Whatever. I don't know where the hell the video is. All right. Oh, Joni. Hi, Joni. She played with me on poker night. That's true. I remember you. How's it going? We had an interesting hand where I had 10-9 of clubs. Anyway, whatever. Not important. Anyway, hey, Joni. Andy, what's up? Steve likes the spreadsheet I created. That's awesome. Thank you. Andy, sorry about that. So, Ryan, yeah, maybe you're right. It also is my channel, so anyway. Sorry about that last connection, guys. I had to cut him off. Call in. I am taking another call or two here before I wrap up. I'm gonna definitely have to go by 7:30, but maybe before. Let me check one thing. I have dinner after this. It's actually 7 o'clock in Italy, and so it's yeah. Anyway, it's hard to find a time where I can connect with everybody. So just part of it. But I'd love to take a few more questions. Got a good audience here. Thank you guys so much for joining. I really appreciate it. It's awesome. Grateful to be here and connect with you guys. I definitely want to do more of these. I'd hope to make it like an every Sunday thing. that would be awesome if I could do something like once a week and we can make these better, where I have like calls that are screened and we have like themes, and like there's so many ways I can make this better. But in the meantime, I didn't want to let the fact that it's not perfect stop me from connecting with you guys now. So, we're improving as we go. We have great content coming on the Conscious Poker YouTube. I'm super excited for that. There's some really cool stuff coming. Be sure to subscribe if you aren't already, because cool stuff coming about Macau in particular. So that's going to be awesome. Ryan, how do you control winning tilt? I win a few hundred and always try to move up in stakes and then can't move down after. So one thing I think that's good to do is to plan out ahead of time, like what your strategy is going to be when it comes to moving up in stakes or quitting a game or starting a game or playing or whatever. So for example, like let's say you are playing 2-5 and you want to move up to 5-10. Like you might want to say to yourself, okay, when is the most responsible time to play 5-10? Well, it's probably when you have, $20,000 or $30,000 saved up that you're going to dedicate to poker, and you're probably going to take a small shot with, a small amount of your bankroll to play that 5-10 game. So you kind of plan this all out ahead of time and map it out and say, okay, well, I'm going to play 5-10 if I have, 5,000 I'm going to dedicate to 5-10 and I still have enough money to play 2-5. That's when I'm going to make that jump. So it's something that's like, you don't just leave up to your like whimsical feelings or emotions. You actually like write out a business plan for your poker that makes sense. That's the most logical and responsible plan to make based on your current life situation. And that depends on your goals, your finances, your monthly cost of living. All those sorts of things are going to come into play when you're making that decision, so that you don't just like, oh, I won 500, let me just jump into the next biggest game. No, you're actually like going at it methodically and responsibly. So that's the best way that I've found to do that. Awesome, Joni. It's cool. So John, when do you, hold on. When you know your opponent is weak, how do you select your bluffs? Or do you just attack the spot and not worry about the hand? So that's a good question. So there's two sorts of ways to approach it. Like from a game theory standpoint, you want to select your bluffs with like, the worst hands that you can have, you want to bluff with those. So whenever you're at, the bottom of your range, or you have like, this is the worst hand I could have in this situation, that's a good time to bluff. But if I know that my opponent's weak and that the card that comes favors my range, or just the way he called, I know he has air, I'm going to bet regardless of where I'm at in my range, or regardless of whether or not I'm supposed to bet, because I'm trying to exploit him to win the most money possible. I play a very exploitative style if I feel that I can use if the situation warrants it. If I don't know what to do, or I'm playing against a pro, or I've never played against this player before, I'm going to play a game theory approach. I'm not going to just like do something crazy out of line when I don't have any information or reads most of the time. So if I do feel confident that like my opponent is weak in a spot, I don't care what hand I have, I'm going to go for it because I'm trying to exploit him to win the most money. So, sure, Mario. Okay. Ryan, any big tourneys coming up for yourself? You know what? I don't plan that far ahead, so I don't really know. I just kind of take things as they come. Right now I'm in Italy. I've been grinding a lot of online poker. You can follow my online journey on Instagram at Alec Torelli, and on YouTube, where I'll be sharing some hands that are interesting from the games, but mainly Instagram. And there's also chances to win pro memberships or apparel like this one. If you want our apparel, you can check it out here. So there's some awesome apparel there where I'm sharing some stuff, but I don't have any plans for tourneys specifically, just because we'll see how it goes. I have a trip coming up where I think I might be going, but I don't want to say anything yet because, it's not completely booked with flights. So we'll see. I have some exciting things on the horizon, let's say. Grumpy, do you have a mentor? I guess there's different people I follow at different times in my life. I wouldn't say a mentor. I do have a mentor, like someone I worked with in Hawaii about like mindset and psychology and like being your best self, and that was really meaningful experience. I worked with someone in Hawaii that I would say kind of fits that sort of bill, but I don't have like someone in my life that like, I have people that I look up to and that I admire and that I talk with, but I don't have someone that specifically I would say fits that role. But it's something I would think would be a benefit, and it would be great to have. But it's something that you can't really orchestrate. You have to just sort of naturally fall into that role when you establish that relationship. And so far, I guess it just hasn't happened. But that would be great. Ray, what are your thoughts on card shuffling machines? They're great. They're great. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions. Remove any web addresses and try again. Anyway, I can't drop in the link to our apparel, but if you go to consciouspoker.com and click on shop, you'll find it. I don't know why it won't let me drop the link. That's crazy. Anyway, I'm taking a few more calls. And I'm probably going to get out of here. I got dinner at 7:45, so. Oh, man. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you being here. This is fun. This is good stuff. It's a cool chance to interact with you guys. I appreciate you being here. And try and do this more often. What else is on the horizon here that I could share with you guys? I'm in Italy. It's winter. It's nice. I like it here. It's peaceful. It's quiet. I get a lot of work done. Great lifestyle too. If you want to follow along on the lifestyle side of things, you can follow me on Instagram. I share like daily stories of me going out and my routine and getting ready for the game and things I do as well. So, okay. Hey.
are. So I mean, I'm blessed. I put God first, and family, and then comes the poker, and that's my Instagram and Twitter, and then God, family, poker, and I live by that. So that's why I'm hard trying to build a bankrolls, because I'm putting the family first, and I can't. This summer, I'm looking forward to taking a shot at a couple of the WSOP tournaments. They got the Giant now and the Colossus and stuff, so I am looking forward to playing in those. But I'm still waiting on the big score, and I'm definitely gonna take your advice, Alec. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I mean, I would try and stay away from tournaments. I mean, let's hold on. We'll make sure we didn't lose.
Those little daily tournaments, right? Yeah, because it's more of like a waste of time on some of the days that you get close to the bubble or no money at all, rather than save that money for cash gaming.
Yeah, totally.
Knowledge. I've learned a lot in the last year and a half dealing with a lot.
And there's more, stability there.
Especially like what I'm trying to do is build a bankroll as far as like hit and run kind of. Not really hit and run, but you know what I mean. As far as you book a win, go.
Yeah, totally. So hold on. I'm losing audio here. So hold on. Add existing. Okay, are we back?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So sorry about that, guys. Anyway, I would. Oh my God! It says I'm muted. This is so tilting. Hold on.
I can
Sorry.
hear you, but yeah, the chat. I'm still with it. Says saying you too.
I have no idea why. I don't.
Yeah. So right now, I haven't played this new year. I'm about to save me up a little 2,500 before I get back on the tables again.
Yeah, for sure. I would not play like the tournaments. I would just focus all your energy on cash games. I think that's the best place to be.
Definitely.
Anyway, thanks for your time, man. Sorry I got to run. I'm trying to fix this sound thing.
Hey, bless you.
Hello? What the fuck? Okay, there we go. Sorry, guys. So tilting. Sorry. I'll answer some questions here. I'm really sorry about that. I have no idea what happened. I was just typing in. I didn't do anything. So anyway, sorry to the last call. I had to cut you off too. I was distracted. So let me jump back into a few questions here. So this is the site for the worksheets. If you want the financial worksheets that I was talking about in the last video, I don't know where you guys left off. You can get those for free as well. I'll try to make as many things free as possible. Matthew, thanks for being here. If you were starting now, where would you start? At the bottom. Grinding, man. There's no shortcut. I would start playing online to learn the fundamentals, and I would play live to build my career and make money. Hiachu saw me in Macau. What's up, my man? Thanks for being here. Appreciate that. How do you deal with losses after taking your shot? I just try and think about all the things in my life I'm grateful for, and I try and realize deeply that whatever happens to me in poker doesn't really matter because this is just a game, and the fact that I get to play means I'm one of the luckiest people in the world. And whether you're playing professionally or playing for fun, the fact that you're playing means that you're one of the lucky ones in the world, that you were dealt a winning hand in life, and whatever happens at the game isn't going to change that. And so I just try and maintain the perspective of gratitude that my life is good, and poker is just a slice of the pie. It's not the whole thing, and whatever happens, happens. And I really try and live that feeling and try and feel that on a daily basis. You can download an app called Gratitude 365, which is really cool. You can use the 5-minute journal, which is also cool, and try meditating as well. So, Steve, what's up, my man? Thanks for being here. Mike, Grumpy, you're a workaholic, aren't you? Yes. I don't know if it's a becoming characteristic or a defect, but it is the truth. So it is what it is. Do you have any problem with self-motivating yourself? Absolutely not. I think I'm one of the most, I'm like very naturally motivated because I have, ambitious goals, and I just am really excited and grateful and passionate about what I'm doing. And so I'm just very motivated almost all the time. I very rarely get down, and the time in between when I get down and when I get back up and inspired is very, very short. So I'm like 24/7, 363 type of thing. So I think I'm gonna take one more call and then I'm gonna go. Sorry guys for the audio, that was brutal. I'm really, really sorry. I'm not great with tech, so try and be my best here. Oh, the chat was on delay. That's super tilting. The chat must be on it must be on like a pretty significant delay because I was talking for a little while and then I just like totally went bananas trying to figure out that audio. Anyway,